Ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, scholars and dignitaries, welcome to another episode. Welcome to my world.
Hello, friends. So many of you have noticed that things seem to be upside down, inside out, that the certainty of life, be it government, the justice system, the political system, or the media, just isn't making sense anymore. Hey, even certain religions seem to be abandoning long-held doctrines. For instance, we have an Inflation Reduction Act, and yet both the federal budget and inflation continues to rise faster than we've seen in decades. To be honest, I know a conspiracy theorist who actually has been correct in all of his last 10 theories. I mean, he's more accurate than CNN, MSNBC, or any of the major news groups. Well, again, in recent years, there has been a noticeable shift in society, and now I think we know why. A study was just published based on a recent poll that was very disturbing. It shows that the basic values that we all grew up with, the traditions, the customs, the priorities, and social mores have changed significantly over these past 25 years. In other words, the things that defined American life, that were more important to families and to the development of this country as a nation, have changed. According to a new poll published in the Wall Street Journal, some traditional American values, like having children, community involvement, and religion, now have much less importance than they did even several years ago, much less several decades ago. And this is a very disturbing finding. For any nation to develop, advance, and evolve into a civilized society, in other words, to continue, one needs an extension of the traditions, customs, and mores that the country was built on over the generations, not a complete dissolving of those values. So, just what did this new survey find? Only 23% of adults under age 30 said that having children was very important to them. And of the total respondents, 78% said they aren't confident that their children's lives will be better than their own. Of everyone surveyed, only 38% valued patriotism, and that was down sharply from 70% in 1998 when the Wall Street Journal first asked that question. And the values of these young Americans also look much different than their parents and grandparents. Just 23% of those ages 18 through 29 years old value patriotism, compared to 59% of those over age 65. And again, having pride in your country, in the history and accomplishments of your country, the people, the culture, and their ideals is not a liability, it's an asset and a framework for continued positive growth and development. And as I've mentioned numerous times in other videos, one of the biggest changes and most detrimental is the drop in people who value religion and religious practices in their lives. Today, only 39% say that religion is very important to them, down from 62% who said it was important back in 1998. By the way, not that it matters, but there was a distinct difference in the importance of religion based upon political affiliation. Only 27% of Democrats said that religion was important to them, whereas it was more than double that for Republicans. Now remember, America was a highly Christian nation. In fact, some 52 of the 55 signers of the Declaration of Independence were Orthodox, deeply committed Christians, and the other 3 believed in God and the Bible as the divine truth. America was built upon Judeo-Christian principles. James Madison, the primary author of the Constitution, said, quote, "We have staked the whole future of our new nation, not upon the power of government, far from it. We have staked the future of all our political constitutions upon the capacity of each of ourselves to govern ourselves according to the moral principles of the 10 Commandments." And, unfortunately, as the value upon religion declines, so too will the quality of life for any civilization. And here's another big shocker. Tolerance is on the decline. Any society, especially societies that want equity and diversity, absolutely must practice tolerance for differences among the peoples, no matter what those differences are. But this poll showed that Americans are actually growing much less tolerant. In the recent past, when the same questions were asked, 80% of Americans considered tolerance to be very important. That number has since dropped to 58%. And again, intolerance is at the heart of anger, rage, racial strife, crime, and a host of other social ills. And another big change in American values is the new priority on money. In my day, when asked what they wanted, people replied that they wanted to make a difference in the world. But in this poll, 43% of people responded that money is the most important priority for them, and that's up significantly from over the past 25 years. Now, we know that people have been struggling in this economy, but still, this is a big cultural shift from years past. This is truly a surprising portrait of a changing America. So people are rejecting the traditions and values that America was built on, God, family, and country, for more, well, let's say, self-serving and self-centered values. This is a new and surprising portrait of a changing America, and yet many people do recognize that this has gone too far and that it imposes real dangers for all of society should these trends continue. I saw an article recently that does, I think, place things in proper perspective. It talked about the reversal of long-held traditions, of the undoing of long-held community values and community social norms. The article stated that traditions, values, and community norms developed over generations of life and were held and prized because they worked. They worked. They evolved because they worked, and they gave stability to civilization, where societies would collapse if they did not have these traditions to guide them. And I'll give you just one example, the Ten Commandments. When I grew up, everyone knew the Ten Commandments and the need to follow them in both your personal and professional life. But today, 9 out of 10 people haven't even heard of the Ten Commandments, much less follow them. So I think this poll shows the true dangers of progressiveness, of modernism, of radical liberalism, and it looks at and analyzes the erosion and abandonment of long-held traditions, customs, and norms because of this progressiveness, and it shows the correlation between this and the increase in crime and violence, broken families, homelessness, rampant drug use, and the chaos America is experiencing right now, the destruction of a stable society. And folks, this is the greatest challenge our nation faces. The loss of a common thread, a common culture, the principles and the beliefs that bind us together, and it's a call on government for a return to some level of social sanity, and for people to return to the customs, traditions, and social norms that made America great in the first place. Hey, be safe, be well, and may God bless you and this great country.